Check. Check 1. Check. Check.
Marcus Aurelius once wrote something surprisingly direct. He said, "Don't waste the rest of your time worrying about other people, what they're doing, what they're thinking, or what they're saying. Because the moment you start obsessing over other people's opinions, you stop paying attention to your own mind." 2,000 years ago, the Stoics believed that attachment to other people's judgments was one of the greatest obstacles to living a meaningful life. But centuries later, Carl Jung discovered something even deeper. Our fear of other people's opinions isn't just philosophical, it's psychological. And today, modern neuroscience, explored by thinkers like Joe Dispenza, shows us that this fear is also neurological conditioning. So today we're building the bridge, from ancient Stoicism to Jungian psychology to modern neuroscience. 3 perspectives explaining the same problem. Why caring too much about what people think can quietly imprison your life. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth. But even as emperor, he constantly reminded himself of something most people forget. You cannot control what other people think about you. Not their judgments, not their interpretations, not their expectations. Yet, many people build their entire lives around trying to manage these things. They shape their behavior, their personality, their career, even their identity around the approval of others. But Marcus Aurelius believed this creates a dangerous trap. Because the moment your peace depends on other people's opinions, your freedom disappears. Your life becomes a performance. And instead of living according to your own mind, you begin living according to the expectations of everyone else.
Carl Jung explored this exact problem from a psychological perspective. He discovered that people often develop what he called the persona. The persona is the mask we present to the world. It's the version of ourselves we believe will be accepted, respected, approved of. But the persona is not the true self. It's an adaptation, a survival strategy. When people become overly attached to how others see them, they slowly begin to identify with the mask. And when that happens, something important gets lost: the real self. Jung believed this creates a deep internal tension because somewhere beneath the persona, the authentic self still exists, still wants expression, still wants to grow. But when a person constantly adjusts themselves to please others, that authentic self becomes suppressed. And over time, this suppression creates anxiety, frustration, and a sense of emptiness that many people struggle to explain. Jung called this the beginning of psychological fragmentation. The outer identity and the inner self begin to drift apart.
Joe Dispenza explains this same pattern through neuroscience. Humans are wired to seek approval from their social group. For thousands of years, survival depended on belonging. Rejection could literally mean death. So the brain developed powerful emotional responses to other people's opinions. Approval triggers reward chemicals like dopamine. Rejection triggers stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, the brain learns to chase approval and avoid disapproval. But in the modern world, this survival mechanism can become excessive. People start measuring their worth through social feedback, through validation, through reputation, through status. And when this happens, the brain becomes conditioned to react emotionally to other people's judgments, even when those judgments have no real impact on survival. From a neurological standpoint, people become addicted to approval.
Jung believed that becoming oneself requires something difficult: the willingness to disappoint people. The moment you begin expressing your true nature, you inevitably violate someone's expectations. Someone will misunderstand you. Someone will disagree. Someone will judge. But Jung saw this as a necessary part of psychological growth. Because individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, cannot happen while living entirely through the expectations of others. To become yourself means gradually withdrawing the energy you've invested in the persona and redirecting that energy towards self-awareness, toward truth, toward authenticity, not the version of you that people expect, but the version of you that actually exists.
From a neuroscience perspective, this transformation requires interrupting old conditioning. Most people react automatically to social pressure. Someone disapproves, someone criticizes, someone rejects them, and the body instantly generates a stress response. But awareness creates a gap. The moment you observe your reaction, instead of immediately obeying it, you begin weakening the old neural program. You stop letting other people's opinions control your emotional state. And the more often you practice this, the more the brain rewires itself. Eventually, something remarkable happens. Other people's opinions lose their emotional charge. Not because you stopped caring about people, but because your sense of identity no longer depends on their approval.
Marcus Aurelius believed that caring too much about other people's opinions distracts us from our own mind.
Carl Jung believed that living through other people's expectations prevents us from becoming our true selves.
And modern neuroscience shows that our reactions to approval and rejection are deeply wired into the brain.
But the moment we become aware of those patterns, we begin to loosen their grip.
Because the truth is, the most valuable thing you can offer the world is not a version of yourself designed to satisfy everyone.
It's the authentic expression of who you actually are. And that expression only becomes possible when we stop living inside other people's judgments.
At LTAT, we believe real transformation happens when ancient wisdom, psychology, and modern science finally meet.
Because when those ideas come together, they all point to the same realization. Freedom doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from understanding the mind.